Well, here we are. The Packers season is done, but we're not finished talking about all things green and gold. Of course, Matt LaFleur has been retained. We learned that over the past weekend. Everyone's already on to figuring out who the next defensive coordinator will be, with Jeff Hafley taking the Dolphins head coaching post. Do you have any first thoughts on the matter?
Maybe my first thought is would probably be someone we've never heard of. Because think back to Jeff
That's a good
Hafley. I remember when Jeff Hafley got
and
hired.
Joe Barry.
Joe Barry, especially Jeff Hafley when he got hired, it was like, who? I mean, it was legitimately like, who did? I actually almost thought it was a fake post because it was like I had not heard Jeff Hafley as a possibility, and that was the guy, and that worked out really well. So maybe the best answer is the answer that you haven't heard of, even though there are some big names floating out there for possible candidates. Guys like Raheem Morris would be an interesting one. A guy with ties to LaFleur, and then Jonathan Gannon would be an interesting one, former head coach. But those are big names, so maybe it won't be anybody we've heard of at all. That was the first thing I thought of.
You're talking coordinators, Joe Barry, Jeff Hafley. Just look at Mike McCarthy and Matt LaFleur. McCarthy had coordinated a really, really bad offense prior to getting the head job here. Matt LaFleur had 1 year as a play caller in Tennessee before coming here, and the Titans didn't even make the playoffs before. Just because he isn't the big name doesn't mean he's not going to have big success. I think a lot of people wanted Josh McDaniels when they got Matt LaFleur. A lot of people also wanted Matt LaFleur gone. Why do you think the number one reason is that they brought him back?
In reality, how much of the last 5 games was Matt LaFleur's fault, if you will? I mean, you lose Micah Parsons.
Bingo.
Everything went downhill once they lost Micah Parsons. Look at the defensive numbers. You know, Jeff Hafley, look at the defensive numbers of those last 5 games. They were not good.
Job.
They went from top 5 in yards per game allowed to 12th in such a short span.
And 6th in scoring to 11th.
Yeah, I mean, that was a seismic change, and that's not Matt LaFleur's fault. Losing Tucker Kraft was not Matt LaFleur's fault. These things happen. They affect the season.
They sure do.
If you fired every coach that had their star player go out with an injury, the NFL would look massively different than it does today. So, I mean, prudent to keep Matt LaFleur. If nothing before said that you should make a change, nothing after should say the same. So
to me,
it makes
the
sense.
reasons to keep him, it's not his fault the injuries happened. I think everyone believes if Micah and Tucker especially were healthy, this team is maybe still playing this weekend, probably still playing last weekend for sure, winning the division for sure, I would imagine. Beyond that, do you really want to start over with Jordan Love? He's made such progress in 3 years as a starter, ascending in this league. Do you want to start over? And who's going to be the hot offensive mind you bring in? Matt LaFleur would be the hot offensive mind on the market elsewhere. Anyways, we're going to talk about the D.C. Post. 3 known interviews so far. You mentioned Jonathan Gannon, the former Cardinals head coach. Not a lot of success there, but where was he before? A defensive play caller for the Philadelphia Eagles who went to the Super Bowl and nearly beat the Chiefs in their first showdown with them in Arizona. That was a pretty good defense that ran into a buzzsaw at the end in Mahomes and the Chiefs. And that field was really slippery in that Super Bowl, if you recall as well. But that defense put some fear in people. The others are non-coordinators or they didn't have to request interviews. Christian Parker, the Eagles' defensive pass game coordinator, who started as a low-level assistant here in Green Bay.
He was a quality control coach. He's an interesting one. Another guy was the Eagles' ties. You think about what's a really good secondary. Maybe what's one part of the Packers' defense that needed to improve last year was the secondary. The pass rush, really good when Micah's out there. The secondary needs some work. That's a guy who's coaching a pretty good secondary in Philadelphia, so why not go get a guy that's coaching those DBs and the pass game coordinator out there? That Christian Parker is an interesting name.
I really think so as well. And when you look at his background as a DBs coach, Jeff Hafley had that as well. The Packers saw so much success there. The prior regime, Joe Barry had a linebacker focus. Mike Pettin as well, not a pure DBs type coach. A lot of the players in the Packers secondary rave about why Hafley's defense worked for them. His secondary focus from the back to the front worked well, and then you get Micah Parsons. The front takes care of itself when he's healthy. He also coached Pat Surtain in Denver as an assistant, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean in Philly, and while he didn't turn these players into all-pros, he didn't hurt either by all accounts. The other one, Durante Jones, the Vikings defensive pass game coordinator under Flores. Now Flores, he's up for some head coaching interviews. If he gets one of those, great. If not, I think he'll be a candidate for the Packers as well, right?
I mean, that would be an interesting one. I mean,
gosh, he likes to blitz.
He does. It would be very interesting to see how, if he comes back, you bring back Quay, because you have Quay and then Cooper, and just see what they do with the linebacking core, and then add in everything you could do with Micah. I mean, just imagine Micah in Flores' in defense. Excuse me, just moving him around and him coming from every direction. You thought they moved around Micah Parsons a lot in Jeff Hafley's scheme. You wait until Brian Flores gets a hold of him and see what he does. He might be a safety in one time, just safety blitz with Micah Parsons.
Are we ignoring the one name that everyone in the state wants to see the most?
Yeah.
What name is that?
Jim Leonhard. Jim Leonhard's got a pretty nice gig in Denver right now.
Okay.
My knowledge, I can't even talk to him right now.
No, not till after the AFC
And
title.
then Vance Joseph, does he go somewhere else? Who's their current defensive coordinator there, and then he stays in Denver. That's the one everybody wants. Just you don't hear a whole lot of rumblings about Jim Leonhard, and maybe it's also the whole dynamic
the
before
rumblings
Joe
will grow
Barry.
the moment that Broncos AFC title game ends,
Yeah.
and they could theoretically interview him. Of course, Jim Leonhard, in case you didn't know, he's the former Badger player, former Badgers defensive coordinator, former Badgers interim head coach, who a lot of people wanted to get the head job in Madison, who wanted to get the job when Joe Barry got it here. Reportedly, he turned down Matt LaFleur and the Packers at the time. A lot of people thought he was angling to succeed at Paul Chryst and be the Badgers head coach there, and that was the reasoning. Eric alluded to his success in Denver right now. He's not the coordinator, but he's the defensive pass game coordinator, I believe. Their coordinator, Vance Joseph, has been a hot name to perhaps be the Cardinals' next head coach. If that happens, would Leonhard just say, I don't have to move at all, I can stay put and then be the DC of a team that just went to the AFC title game and is really good defense?
Yeah.
I would think that makes a lot of sense. Should Vance Joseph not get a head coaching job, I think this could be very, very, very appealing to Jim Leonhard to come home. Today on ESPN Radio in Madison, former Badgers head coach of football and AD Barry Alvarez says they need to go get him, end of the story. I think that was the direct quote. I think a lot of people in the state feel that way, but it takes two to tango. We turned down the Packers once before. Moves this week. Trayvon Diggs released. The Packers picked him off waivers from Dallas before the regular season finale. He played like half the snaps in that game, but just one snap in the playoffs. He was due to count $15.5 million against the cap, so that was an obvious move. Could they still bring him back? They could. He said so much about loving being here. I think he was trying to say, please don't cut me out of this contract. I'm due a lot of money. I'll say whatever you want. Keep me here. They may or may not want to keep him here, but that price tag was much too steep for a team with cap issues. If you're looking at other things the Packers will do, they don't have the next two first-round draft picks. They don't have a ton of cap space. They're over the cap right now by, $30, $40 million when you
I think that number went down a little bit with Diggs.
With Diggs,
gone,
okay,
because he's off the books.
But
So
some
no.
other new moves need to be made. Elton Jenkins, you get rid of him, that saves $19.5 million. He's a guy that moved from left guard to center for you, got injured at center, wasn't playing great before the injury. That's a big one to look for. Rashawn Gary, no sacks down the stretch, the last 10 games of the year. Really impotent effort with the pass rush, especially glaring when Micah Parsons goes down and he can't do anything. He would save $11 million if the Packers release him. There's a lot of other ways. I think you want to keep your leaders, Josh Jacobs, Xavier McKinney. Jacobs would save you 8.3. McKinney would save you 7.5, but I think those are core guys who are still playing really well. So
And the other thing with Jacobs, what are you going to do to replace him? Because you'd have to either go get somebody in free agency
Marshawn
or
Lloyd
draft somebody. And Marshawn
never
Lloyd
made it on the field, really.
Yeah. You'd feel a lot better if Marshawn Lloyd was on the field and contributing. He just hasn't because of injuries.
People thought, hey, the season's over. We won't have anything to talk about. That's not true.
There's always
We've gone
something to
for a while here already. I want to get your thoughts on the two conference title games as well, because those should be fun on Sunday.
Let's see. I mean, the Patriots. I'm very interested to see how the Patriots defense and Jarrett Stidham, who was once a Patriots quarterback, and that turned out horribly when he was in New England. So it gets interesting to see him now go against the Patriots in an AFC title game. That you have to think the Patriots are going to find a way to win that game, but you never know. That Denver defense can cause enough problems that maybe they keep it close and they can somehow stumble into maybe a defensive score might be the difference. And if they can find a way to win that game, that's probably how you do it. We all saw how close and competitive that first game between Seattle and the Rams were. I think expect very similar things. That's just my feeling on that game. That one, who knows? I mean, the Rams are tough to figure out sometimes when it's like, I think it was against the Panthers, I was like, wow, these guys are okay. And then you watch them and next week, you're like, wow, these guys are really good.
Well, the Panthers maybe just aren't bad.
Yeah.
Maybe they beat the Packers when they had Parsons. Anyways, I'll take them in reverse order. The two meetings between the Rams and the Seahawks, I believe, decided by 3 total points combined. That Thursday nighter about a month ago was epic. It was 30-14, though, in the fourth quarter in the Rams' favor before a lot of things conspired to get Seattle the win, get Seattle the 1 seed, and the rest is history since then. I will say in the final regular season on the clock of the year, before the playoffs, I said, give me Patriots-Rams if Devontae's healthy, otherwise Patriots-Seahawks. Devontae's healthy, so I'm going to stick by my guns. I'm saying Patriots-Rams, and I really think that's going to end up happening at this point. The Rams and the Seahawks, to me, it's one of those tale as old as time showdowns. The top scoring offense in the league against the top scoring defense. We all know defense wins championships. I grew up in Indiana, loved Peyton Manning growing up. I remember when the Seahawks met the Broncos in that scenario in the Super Bowl. Our former Action 2 Sports news anchor, Jeff Alexander, a big Seahawks fan. He's from Whidbey Island out there. Yeah. We bet $50, and I bet on offense. I'm never going to bet offense again. I think the Rams are a better team. They also have a really good defense. But gosh, the track record of teams that are top offense against top defense is not very good. So the Seahawks at home, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they win. On the other side, everyone would be surprised if the Broncos and their backup quarterback, Jared Stidham, come out on top. But I will say, dating back to, you look at Tom Brady's career, which opponent, single opponent, did he have the worst win percentage against? The Broncos. And a lot of those losses were on the road. That is a tough place to play. We talked about it when the Packers went there. Very few road teams have much success at a mile high. The game's in Denver. Jared Stidham, a highly valued backup quarterback. He's one of the first moves Sean Payton made when he moved to Denver to back up Russell Wilson at the time. Hedging the bet on that one. I don't think he believed in Russell a lot. I think Stidham will play all right. I think the defense in Denver is going to have to do the heavy lift if that's going to end up being a victory for the home side. I think Patriots-Rams is my pick. I'm sticking with it. What's your pick?
Oh, I'm going to go with Patriots-Rams too. I'm
Seattle's
not
gonna
hung
prove us
up.
wrong.
I'm not hung up on the Patriots. I think the Patriots' defense is, better than I think a lot of people thought it was this year, and they really showed that against the Texans. I feel bad for Jared Stidham because I covered the kid when he was in high school. So, but I think that unless the altitude really plays that much of a factor, which it
will
can,
play a little factor.
But then Seattle, I'm so on the fence on the Seattle Rams game just because
that's why we're
that
all gonna
Seattle
watch.
defense is the dark side is really that good, and then you have the offense that the Rams run. I think bias. I think I'd like to see Devontae get a ring, or at least have a chance to get a ring. All of us that have covered him when he was here, but
I would love for him at least to get a shot to play in the Super Bowl.
it would give us something to talk about during Super Bowl week.
Yes, my lasting memory from the collapse in Seattle in 2014 was Devontae, then a rookie in his locker room. He was curled up, sitting in the locker, like doom scrolling. Like that wasn't even a term back then, but he was just scrolling through his phone and messages and Twitter in disbelief. And he was a rookie at the time. That locker room was memorable. Tremont Williams owning the overtime touchdown he gave up for like 40 minutes. Brandon Bostic after the onside kick. But what stood out to me was just Devontae in like the fetal position, almost curled up in his locker, just in disbelief. I really hope, against hope, that he gets a chance to play in the Super Bowl.
All these years
and the
later,
return
redemption
to
in Seattle.
man, that would be something. Thanks for joining us. We'll continue to try to do these chats every Wednesday at 5:30. It's the off season, but it's always football season here in Titletown.